Hello, ladies and gentlemen, 'tis I, Michael A. Graham, aka the Multi-Voice. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today, I know I ain't gonna be doing any multi-voice-a-thon, but there was something I wanted to review. I've been holding it back for a while, but I think now is the time for me to talk about it. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the Doctor Who episodes that I did mention on my Sylvester McCoy era, and it is Death Comes to Time. Now, what can I say about Death Comes to Time? Long time ago, in about 2002, after the series have ended, they were trying to get Doctor Who going, and even though and this was before Big Finish kept on making their series of Doctor Who, but there was a website who goes by the name of BBCI. They had a website where they're trying to make their own Doctor Who series, whether if it's canon or not. And, of course, this is how the story goes. In the beginning, we have General Tennis, played by John Seasons. He starts attacking ships. He becomes this powerful, evil dictator. So he wiped out the entire fleet who's trying to stop him. While at the same time, there were a couple of rebels who survived, led by Senator Sola, played by the lovely Britta Jenner. And they were about ready to be killed off by Tannis's troops until the Doctor, played by Sylvester McCoy, showed up to save the day. Except this time he doesn't have Ace as his companion. He has Timothy, played by Kevin Eldon. And if you want to know about Timothy, I'll explain later. And I know some of you are thinking, how come Ace isn't with the Doctor in this one? Somehow they said that they had like a falling out, which I did explain in one of the Big Finish episodes where they finally did explain how did the Doctor and Ace cut ties. But one thing I remember, which Big Finish did explain, even though that the Doctor and Ace had cut ties, she stayed on Gallifrey and learned how to become a Time Lord. So she stayed on Gallifrey learning how to become a Time Lord, so pretty much she starts teaching the Gallifreyans and all the Time Lords about how to become human. And she starts teaching them how to become more human, while they teach her how to be a Time Lord. But meanwhile, even though that Ace is no longer with the Doctor, Ace is with this other Time Lord who goes by the name of Casmus, played by Leonard Fenton. But there's something a little different about Casmus. You see, Casmus is a Time Lord as well, and he's being like a teacher to Ace, but there's something very mystical about him. While at the same time, the Doctor had a vibe that he has to go to meet somebody. While Cadmus, on the other hand, starts teaching Ace about the ways on how to teach the Time Lords. And of course, the reason why Cadmus ended up with Ace, because Ace was held prisoner by Tennis's men. She was in prison until he showed up and told one of the guards to let her go. So now he starts teaching her under his wings. One of the troops kept wondering what happened, and they interrogated him, tortured him, wondering what really happened, but they don't believe what he said, so they kill him. Such stubborn ass, you know. Well, at the same time, the Doctor kept having nightmares, kept having dreams, until the Doctor finally arrived in this one place in a planet where he's in this area called the Temple of the Fourth, where most of the Time Lords used to go to. And from out of nowhere, out comes the Time Lord have meet the Minister of Chance, played by Stephen Fry. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's the same Minister of Chance which I introduced in my episode, both The Cult of Frankenstein and, of course, the latest episode that I already released. I hope all of you enjoyed that. The Resurrection of the Minister of Chance. And I will explain more about the Minister after I'm done with this. But one thing I've been noticing lately, some people used to say that Time Lords used to have godlike powers. One speak of their word and everything happens, but they refuse to use their powers for the sake of the timeline and everything. Which, I know that it's not exactly canon from the rest of the BBC Doctor Who universe, but I think it would have been used necessary in case if they dealt with somebody who has godlike powers. Possible. I mean, that's why I did that one episode where my doctor had to deal with Frankenstein who had godlike powers. So, the only way to battle against somebody who becomes a god? Be a god yourself, temporarily, in order to stop them. And that's it. But anyway, the Minister kept getting vibes too that every single Time Lord are dying. And right now there are 2 Time Lords who ended up killed. So he wants the Doctor to find out what's going on and why all these Time Lords are getting killed one by one. So they decided to switch places, and the Minister starts trying to pick up where the Doctor leave off by helping Sinister Sola and the rebels, while the Doctor figures out who's killing all the Time Lords. Anyway, General Tennis kept torturing one of the troops, trying to get information until he got the information he needs, so he killed off the soldiers. And turns out that Tennis, he knows about the Time Lords, somehow. And how did he know? Well, wait a second and I'll tell you. He knows about the Time Lords, and all of a sudden there was this one person who's a Time Lord, goes by the name of Dr. Valentine, played by Anthony Stewart Head. Yeah, that's right, the same Anthony Stewart Head that we've seen in some of the Doctor Who shows, and even Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and tons of other stuff we've seen him in. But him as a Time Lord, he gets killed off by a monstrous creature who goes by the name of Nessikin, played by David Hill. So the Doctor and his companion and Timothy showed up, and he meets this woman doctor who goes by the name of Dr. Kane, played by Charlotte Palmer. Now, 2 officers showed up, one named Campitin and the other one named Speedwell. Now, I don't have any pictures of him, that's why I'm not showing you guys, because, I mean, I know that Campitin is played by Garth Jones, and Speedwell was played by Stephen Brody, but sadly I have no pictures of him. Sorry. But they showed up, and they almost thought that Aunt Timothy was a perpetrator. He kept asking him questions, and he doesn't understand what they're talking about. Until all of a sudden they discovered another body. And it was discovered by a constable, one of the officers, until they finally realized that cop who showed them where the next body was at was none other than Nezakin. So he disguised himself as a cop, huh? So the doctor and Speedwell, they found more bodies, and they finally realized that this is all a ruse. While at the same time, and Timothy, he found Campiton dying, and he was dead. And out comes Dr. Kane, who turns out she's the same species as Nezakin. But anyway, the doctor and Speedwell, they both went into the sewer, and that's when they found Nezakin. And the doctor killed Nezakin. And when Kane showed herself as one of those assassin monsters, the doctor and Speedwell stopped her as well. They stopped Dr. Kane. While at the same time, there were two soldiers, and one of them is... There are two soldiers who are in league with tennis, and their names are Captain Crane, played by Anthony McGibbon. Sadly, I don't have a picture of him, but we do have another one, Lieutenant Senil, played by Michael Yell. Now, the doctor stopped them because they were about ready to attack Senators Sulla and the rebels, but the doctor showed up and gave him an ambush. And of course, that's where the minister met Sulla, and they decided to find a way to stop them. At the same time, when the doctor killed Dr. Kane and, of course, Nezakin, they discovered that Nezakin sent in a message. Turns out that Nezakin sent a message to Tennis, letting them know that they should come to Earth. Let them know about Earth. So now the doctor has to leave. While at the same time, there was a ruler in the planet that Tennis is a general in, and he goes by the name of Primer Bedlow, played by Robert Reety. And it turns out that General Tennis, he starts he was holding something over Bedlow, telling him that he has his son. So if he ever tries to defy him, he will have his son killed. Very intimidating. Now, the minister and Sulla got captured, and then the minister starts hypnotizing Lieutenant Senil, while at the same time the minister was playing games and put a virus into their computer. And then Sunil kills Crane. So now Sunil's in charge. Doctor and Aunt Timothy meet Bedloe, and they help save his son, and then all of a sudden, Tennis showed up. You see, the Doctor and Aunt Timothy decided to help Bedloe by trying to stop Tanis, by trying not to hold over him, by saving his son. So now, Tennis showed up. But at the same time, Casmus starts talking to Ace, and he starts taking her through these illusion tests to see how she's gonna deal with a certain subjects and certain things. I mean, he put her through one test where she's supposed to hang on to the stalagmites but not jump into the water. But of course, she fell into the water. She thought it was poison, but of course, Casmus told her that it's water with red dye in it. So now she's covered with red color water. So she's all red in the face. And of course, also gave her another challenge to meet a dying village for her to save somebody. Even though they're dying and they're all contagious. But it was just nothing but another test that Ace went through. And then Tennis revealed himself. Turns out that General Tennis is a Time Lord. And the reason why he became a dictator and why is he doing all this is because even though he's a Time Lord, he has what the other Time Lords... he wants what the other Time Lord has. All the Time Lords have godlike powers except Tennis. And he wants it. He wants the godlike powers that they possess. And of course, he killed the Doctor's companion, Aunt Timothy. And it reveals that the reason why Timothy is like all pale with black eyes, it's because he's an android. So it turns out that when Sylvester McCoy's Doctor cut ties with Ace, he was sick and tired of having companions who, after regeneration, the companions get older and older while he keeps regenerating. So he was trying to make a companion that lasts forever. So therefore, Aunt Timothy is actually a robot. He's his mechanical companion who journeys with him along his adventures. At least my companion is a Cyberman. Although she's still sort of human. More human than machine. Kind of the opposite of what Obi-Wan Kenobi said. He's more machine now than man. Well, Hannah is more woman than machine. Just like, just like 7 and 9. But anyway, after Tennis killed Aunt Timothy and revealed that he was a robot, he ordered his troops to kill any remains of the rebels, and therefore Sola gets killed. The minister tried his best to save her, but it was too late. He couldn't use his godlike powers in order to stop it. Even though he cannot do it, he's trying not to, even though he's trying to save them, but it was too late. So now the minister is pissed. And his godlike powers is going completely out of hand. While at the same time, General Tennis showed up and met Casmus. And he wanted to know where's that girl, that Ace. You see, Ace ended up in the TARDIS. She ended up in the TARDIS because he taught her enough to know what it takes to be a Time Lord. And surprisingly, the soldier who got her in prison in the first place, turns out that he escaped his torture from Tennis. So he went off on his own, and that's when he found her and started helping her. So it kind of looks like that since Ace is going to become a Time Lord, that soldier who saved her life is going to become her companion, I guess. Too bad that's not canon. I wish it was. I would like to see the soldier who was with her from that Jodie Whittaker episode. You know, the one where they united Tegan and Ace as like a companion reunion. And dealt with the master who turns out he was Rasputin. That explains why that Rasputin was still alive after they overkilled him. I'm just kidding. But I did love the song. Rah, rah, Rasputin, never been a love machine. He was a chap that really was gone. But anyway, it turns out that the soldier helped Ace, and then they found Casmus. He was murdered by Tennis. And then the doctor showed up, so now the doctor and Ace are finally reunited. And then when the doctor showed up to see the remains of the rebels who are still alive, they notice that the minister, he's pissed off and getting out of hand. I mean, his powers is becoming way out of control. He cannot stop. So now the doctor has to go to the minister and try to tell him that he needs to control himself. But the minister is like, "Leave me alone! I want to be alone! I want to make this stop! I can't handle all the killings and all the deaths happening to me, all around me!" But the doctor finally calmed him down. Meanwhile, Tennis, he got into a ship and he was trying to attack Earth. But of course, George W. Bush, hey, it was made around 2002. So, George W. Bush trying to make peace, but they didn't listen to him. So they were planning to attack, and the first area they're ready to attack is England. But, think again, buddy boy, because Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart from Units showed up, and his troops showed up and gave Tennis what for? I mean, they got their ships ready and firing their lasers right at Tennis' ship, destroying every single ship around. And when they were landed, and believe it or not, they landed in the Stonehenge. What is it with Doctor Who and the Stonehenge? Well, besides the Matt Smith episode, "Hello, Stonehenge! Whoever takes Pandora car takes the universe. But bad news, everyone, 'cause guess who? Ha!" And then this become a final showdown between the Doctor, Ace, and of course General Tennis in Stonehenge. But surprisingly, Tennis almost killed Ace, but the Doctor stopped him. And then all of a sudden, the Doctor told Tennis that he has been controlling everything around him and it's time for him to stop. his ruling days are over. And his request of wiping out every single Time Lord so he can have the godlike power that he wanted has come to an end. And yeah, that's, I guess I must have based Omega from tennis on that a huge event, Disturbance in the Multiverse, where Omega went to see the Minister a chance and killed the Minister for her godlike powers. But of course I resurrected the Minister because I felt bad killing off a character that's going to be well known throughout the franchise. But anyway, the Doctor uses godlike powers and bam, he wiped tennis out from existence. And all the troops from the unit, they pretty much cleaned up all the mess and took the technology for their own purpose to defend Earth for any kind of threat. Now, here's one thing that kind of boggled me here. At the end, it kind of shows that the Doctor probably died. Like, he sacrificed himself in order to kill Tennis. So, all that's left is the Minister. Yeah, I'm not buying it, and they shouldn't sell that. I mean, there's got to be a way that the Doctor can escape. I mean, the Doctor escapes death so many times, so why kill him off? But that is the end of Death Comes to Time. Now, if any of you is interested in the story and want to watch it, you can easily find it on YouTube. There is a playlist of the Doctor Who Death Comes to Time. You can give it a listen and watch some of the scenes because they do some art picture frame and have some of the cast members look like their characters. Or you can just order the CD and just listen to it in audio. But here's the thing. Even though Stephen Fry played the Minister, it wasn't the last we seen the Minister a chance. Because the reason why I did talk about Death Comes to Time, because I'm going to be talking about another one that became a spinoff, which is a kind of, maybe sorta, Doctor Who, but with his name scratched off, where it's called The Minister a Chance. And of course, the Minister himself is not played by Stephen Fry, but played by Julian Redham. Now, I haven't seen him in any movies or anything at all, so I can't see him in anything else for me to know about him. But I have I have listened to the audio that one time when I was in a 7-day free trial with Audible, and it was available on Audible. So if any of you had an Audible, account, you can listen to The Minister a Chance. It's good, but not as good as Doctor Who Death Comes to Time. But they did have Sylvester McCoy in it, and have Paul McGann, but they're not playing the Doctor. And also, one interesting fact, that the bad guy who goes by the name of Lord Rathven in Death Comes to Time is voiced by none other than Paul Daru. And most of you know Paul Daru from that other sci-fi British series that I hardly talk about, but maybe I should start watching the show and maybe do a review of it. Blake 7. I mean, I only saw one episode about it, and it's supposed to be about a bunch of innocent prisoners who tried to escape from authority, so now they're traveling through space to find a colonized planet that they would declare their home away from the authorities. One tries to clear his name, other one trying to take over everything. So, and of course, The Minister a Chance, I mean, they're trying to do a Kickstarter of it, but I guess they haven't had enough funds from it. And they did one short starring Paul McGann playing one of the characters, and of course, this other actor who plays the king, who talks like Gordon Ramsay. Who would have thought about a magical planet where Gordon Ramsay becomes king? You're a load of shite! Well, this is my review of Doctor Who Death Comes to Time. For those of you who enjoyed me talking about Doctor Who Death Comes to Time, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe for more. Oh, and for those of you who are wanting to know about the updates, I mean, I'm sure all of you enjoyed the reason why I did the Resurrection of the Minister of Chance is try to put the ties in between Doctor Who and the Minister, because even though they said it's not canon, I mean, Doctor Who, when has it ever been canon? Huh? When has it ever been canon? I mean, they didn't make Big Finish canon to the BBC series. And I know some of the YouTubers I know who make their own Doctor Who series don't make things canon. I mean, I made it kinda, maybe sorta canon, but not completely. But sooner or later, I promise you that I will do a Doctor Who-a-thon next year, where I'm going to be talking about Christopher Eccleston and among others. So, I am Michael A. Grimm, a.k.a. The Multi-Voice, telling you I remember so I can jog your memory.